We come to this place for magic. We come to AMC theaters to laugh, to cry, to care. Because we need that, all of us. That indescribable feeling we get when the lights begin to dim. And we go somewhere we've never been before. Not just entertained, but somehow reborn. Together. Dazzling images on a huge silver screen. Sound that I can feel. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our heroes feel like the best part of us. And stories feel perfect and powerful. Because here
they are. Oh shit.
AMC theaters. We make movies better.
Sunday, the Ridgely Theater in Fort Worth had the biggest day in its entire history. It sold more than The Godfather, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Superman, and Love Story. According to the National Association of Broadcasters Code, television cannot show you the more violent scenes from Alien. Several adults have walked out of the movie, but no parents with children have been seen leaving early. At $4.
Romulus. This movie is, oh man, this movie. I saw it this weekend. I just had to talk about it somehow. I have prepared a little presentation.
Oh, I can breathe now. Oh my God. I have prepared a little presentation to talk about Alien Romulus because it deserves it, honestly. It deserves it. This thing is hot as hell. I am not gonna lie to you. This is hot. Okay. Alien Romulus. AMC A-list member, myself. Reviews and slightly glazes Alien Romulus. Not sponsored. Not yet, at least. Yeah, AMC, if you're watching, for some reason, I'm down. This movie is something I did not expect, honestly. I did not expect this movie to like this movie as much as I did. For the things that happen in this movie to happen, I'm honestly blown away. Okay, let me just. Oh my God. That thing is hot. Whew. That thing is hot. Okay. Before we get into the movie, I saw it this weekend and had a bit of an experience. So, as an AMC A-list member, we get many perks. We can see like 3 movies a week. We get upgraded like regular popcorn to large pop. This sounds very sponsored. It's not. I'm just glazing. But being an A-list member, it's, you know, people think it's cool. People like when you talk about it, and people like when you tell them that they should be one also. But not everyone thinks that. I don't know, it's weird that they don't think that. But I saw Alien Romulus this weekend at 1 p.m. on a Saturday. Needless to say, it was dead. The theater was kind of dead. I walk in there. I got my A-list mentality. I scan my code. I'm walking in. So here, let me show you. The life of an AMC A-list stub member. We get priority premier A-list lines. They're golden lines. There's golden rope, and you bypass everyone. You see all of these right here. This maze. It's a mess. Like, who's going through all that? I'm not. Those are the insiders. Those are the insiders that I'm not. Anyway, this is a whole mess. You know, this is not like. It's not me. I'm not doing that. So I go to the A-list one, the golden one. It's empty. It looks exactly like this photo right here. No one's here. I have a choice to make. Do I go through the maze, or do I still go through the priority line, even though there's no one there? I go through the priority line. I still go to the priority line because because if I didn't go to the priority line, I want them to know that I'm a member, right? Not because of status, but it's nice too. But I want them to know that I'm a member so that I can get my free upgraded popcorn from regular to large. This movie is supposed to be 2 hours long. I need that large popcorn. If it's 2 hours, come on. So, and you get a regular drink upgraded to large. Everything's from regular to large because upgraded basically. But you usually do it on the app. And in this case, I was there in person, so I couldn't do it on the app. And it was a very impromptu viewing of I literally saw this on Twitter, and I just went to go see it. It was not planned at all. I wasn't ready with my member points. I was a mess. I was a complete mess. And so I go to the A-list priority line. A worker in the back it starts laughing at me just from a distance. I just see a laughter. I'm like, well, just guess I don't really see A-listers every day, A-list members, but can't be helped. And so I walk up to the cashier and I explain to him, this is me walking up to the cashier. This is how I feel like in every AMC right here. This right here. This is what it feels like to be an A-list member. You just get priority lines. So I walk up to this cashier and I tell him, I was like, hey, look, I'm trying to get the regular popcorn, but upgrade it to large, and then the regular drink will upgrade it to large, but I don't know how to do that. There's nothing on the app that tells me to do that, and all these. Honestly, I came at him with this kind of energy. That was me. That was my energy. That's how I was looking at him. I was like, hey, can I get that free upgrade? He looks at me like this. And then I just try to explain to him more. I'm like, I'm a member. I'm an A-list member. And then just nothing. He ended up just looking at me like this. I mean, he just looked at me like that, and then he just said, yeah. And then he walked away. He just walked away. He didn't give me a drink. He didn't give me any nothing. I paid, and he walked away. And so this was one of the AMCs where they had the popcorn on the side. I don't know if you've been to one, but the popcorn's just out there, and you just take it. So they don't really make it for you, I guess. But I just scavenged myself a drink. I got myself a popcorn. I don't know what I paid for. I took a large. I just took a large because, Okay. Anyway, so I don't know why, but some people don't respect the AMC A-list member. I am whatever. But back to the movie. First off, let's give a huge round of applause 1 sec while I find that round of applause. Huge round of applause to Rain. Oh shit. Rain is a badass. Simply. She is the voice of reason in this movie. She does not hesitate to just tackle anything. Like it's crazy how there's some points that I'll get to later that without hesitation, it's so cool to see just boom, taking action, taking this. And being the voice of reason in the movie, she, you know, when you watch a movie and you're like, why don't they do that? Or they're like, or you're thinking in your head like, that's stupid, why don't do that, or this or that, and all these like things that as a viewer that you're seeing, she says those things out loud in the movie. And they end up still doing those things, but it's better because, you know, that they acknowledge it. It just feels more realistic that somebody acknowledged it and then they got overruled by like the friend group rather than like everyone just going along with it. So I just appreciate that aspect, how basically every turn she's like, let's not do this, and then everyone's like, let's do this, and then she gets overruled. I respect that. But I wasn't going to see this. Like I said before, I was not going to see this originally, but then I saw a tweet that said it's opening with $100 million worldwide, and the budget was like 80 million or something. So for the opening weekend, it was like only 2 days. I was like, this is pretty good. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, and let me just go see what's up. So randomly, spontaneously, I went to go see this, and I didn't want to see it originally because of the trailers. The trailers are just, you know, it did the movie dirty. It showed too much. It wasn't really intriguing, at least to me. The ending was kind of cool, but let's just watch it right here.
Is this really where you want to spend the rest of your life?
You know I don't.
Then this is our only ticket out of here.
Okay, don't know what they're saying. From like, if I didn't see the movie, I don't know like what they mean. Take it out of where? Why do you want to get out? Sound effects are good, you know. These are good sound effects. But okay, there's aliens. There's gonna be aliens because, you know, that's the name of the movie. You know, that's showing a bit much, right? I know they're trying to amp it up, but that kind of ruined the moment in the movie right there. It just, this part I think is fine, but
Something in the fucking water.
I just don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on.
Fucking things hunting us.
At least when I saw this in theaters like a couple weeks ago, even months ago, I just saw this and was like, okay. This part's kind of cool. It's cool, but for what? I don't know. These are all like really cool shots, but just a little unnecessary. They're giving away some of the coolest parts of the whole movie. Like that is an amazing.
Are you sure you want to do this?
That too. Like, I know it's the money shot, but I don't know. I feel like trailers nowadays are just they're just showing too much, and they're kind of trash. Like, for example, Twisters, the trailer for Twisters was like, this one to me, not intriguing at all. I thought it was just like random people haunting tornadoes for some reason. I didn't know there was like a much more human, deeper story to it. That the trailer just completely, I don't know. That's maybe that's just me, but the trailer did not entice me at all. So that's why I randomly saw this 1 p.m. on a Saturday. So the timeline. The timeline is, for context, I've never seen any Alien movies before. I saw the original one like 8 years ago. I barely remember. You know, I know that there's an alien on board. It kills all the crew members, and then this lady like makes it out. And hold on, go back to full screen. Yeah, she makes it out and floats off into space or something. But I don't know. I haven't really watched that much. But this movie takes place 20 years after the original Alien, which is pretty interesting to me. So they discover the xenomorph, I think, in Alien, and this takes place 20 years after, which is useful knowledge for later when you're watching the movie, because I think they reference it. But it's pretty cool. I don't know any. I've not seen any of these other ones, but I'm very interested to watch now because of Romulus. It got me into Alien. But they talk about this ship, I think, in the movie. Let's get to main characters. So main characters are, well, Rain, like I said before, and Andy, her adopted brother, who is a synthetic. So synthetics are like cyborgs that help with the mining colony. These two characters, they're stuck in a mining colony, and Rain, since she was a child, has had Andy. Her parents got Andy way back then, and so, you know, she grew up with him. He is her adopted brother. She is now an orphan, and they stick together. They're besties. They're side by side, you know. And here they're the characters. We have Tyler, which is Rain's ex, and Kay's brother. We have Kay, Tyler's sister and Rain's friend. Bjorn, this motherfucker right here. Bjorn, who is Tyler and Kay's cousin, and Navarro's boyfriend. And then we have Navarro, which is Bjorn's girlfriend. They all make like a squad, pretty much. They all make a squad, and of course, let's not forget one of the most important characters of the whole movie, the xenomorph. That they are, Jesus, they are terrifying. I just, yeah, we'll get to that later, but they are terrifying. So the story, like I said, it starts with Rain and Andy stuck between a rock and a hard place. They're in the mining colony, as you can see. It's polluted. It's basically like the space ghetto. There is diseases left and right. People are like, you're working yourself to the bone. Rations are low. It's not a great place to be. It's not a great place to be. You have a contract that you have to work. And so Rain, it starts off with Rain going to get her contract completed. She has finished the time. She has finished the years. And she's going to, you know, say, peace, I'm done. I finished my stuff. I'm out of here. I'm going to Evila. I think that's how you pronounce it, Evila. Evila. Why? Evila. She goes to Evila. She wants to go to Evila. She's having dreams about this place. It's where the sun sets. You can't see the sun here. There's no sunlight. It is always darkness in these mining colonies. They have never seen the sun. She is dreaming about the sun. She just wants to see a sunset and relax and sit on some grass. That is her goal. And I think that's pretty cool because it's not a huge it's not a huge thing. It doesn't always have to be something huge in a movie. It doesn't always have to be like this world-ending stake or anything like that. I like when it's very condensed and it's focused on these characters, like this, for instance, or like Godzilla -1. In Godzilla -1, it's, you know, he's saving the world per se, but it's really about a failed kamikaze pilot trying to redeem himself to himself. It's not for anybody else. It's really for himself. And he just wants to feel like he deserves to live again. I don't know. It's just these kinds of like, they feel so much more human. These stories feel more human. And by feeling more human, it just feels more memorable and entertaining. It gets me right off the bat. When I saw the trailer for Alien, like I said before, I thought that it was just like people, they're like, hey, let's go to this alien ship. And they're like, okay. And then they go and then they die or whatever. That's like the vibe I got from the trailer. But right off the bat, the movie proves me wrong. It proves me wrong, and it shows that they're in a difficult spot, and everyone's been in a difficult spot in life. You know, we've all had our dark moments, and her dreams it starts off with her dreams getting crushed. The lady who's stamping everyone's contract, she goes, you know what? There's so many people dying from all these new diseases and outbreaks. I can't let you go. You've been extended for 6 to 12 more years. Here you go. And Rain's the dreams are just shattered right there in that instant. 6 to 12 more years here. It's crazy. They're barely making it as it is. It's always darkness. That is crazy to me. It's always dark. And as this is happening, she goes outside and she sees Andy getting beat up by some little kids. These little kids just jumped him. And he's on the ground. He's paralyzed. You know, he's a cyborg, so he can't really move that much. He's just kind of on the ground paralyzed. But if I play some music, 1 second here. Let me play a song real quick. So Andy is like paralyzed on the ground. He needs to get rebooted. He can't get back up on his own if he's in that prone state. So she gets him. They get back up. And they're just looking around like, damn, what do we even do now? We're just stuck at this mining colony. And that's when she gets a call from Tyler. Tyler calls her over with the gang. She shows up. And they start discussing, they also feel the same way. And they start discussing, how can we leave Colony Jackson Star? This place is bad. People are dying. All their parents have perished, you know, because of these horrible conditions. They're barely hanging on a thread. They're kind of all stuck there. Their contracts are being extended. But they find something interesting. Tyler and his friends, they find an abandoned ship in their orbit. It's called USCSS Nostromo. And on that ship, they think that there isn't like fuel and pods, resources to get them to Ivala themselves without having their contract being accepted or whatever. They themselves are just gonna go hijack whatever is on the ship and then just boom, dip to Ivala, dip to paradise. Because what other choice do they kind of have right now? They all just want to see the sun. They all start discussing it. Rain is saying, do you really want to go to a unknown ship and just like take government equipment? They're saying, well, the choice do we have? It's either that or we stay here and we die. And it's, you know, they're kind of in a rough situation. And they also make a ragtag team. For example, Navarro is the pilot. She can pilot the ships. Andy is the synthetic, which means he can bypass any doors. He can access the mother frame, all the stuff, all the computing stuff. He is their guy. He doesn't need a helmet in space. He doesn't breathe oxygen. He can really just do whatever. He is the right guy for this. And then we have Tyler with past military experience. And now they really don't want Rain. They just want Andy because of all the things I just mentioned. They just want Andy because, you know, he is very useful. Rain rejects it at first. She says, nah, this is stupid. I'm out. They dip. Tyler calls her back. He pleads with her, saying that this is their only shot. This is their last chance. And it's kind of true. So with that, she says, all right, let's just go. Tyler's like, it'll only be 37 minutes. It'll be like 30 minutes. We'll be in and out, and then we're off to paradise. That's it. It's a small ship. We'll just go in, get it, and get out. No problems. Except for when they go, the ship is a lot bigger than they thought. It's huge. It's like an outpost of some kind. It's like it can house like a city. It is gigantic. So that's already kind of off. But you know, there's no going back. They're already dipped off the mining colony. They can't go back to the mining colony. They're gonna get punished. They're gonna get even more reprimanded, even more years. So they kind of have to just see this through. So, and there's also something else. That outpost is near like an asteroid belt, and so it is slowly sinking. Now it is projected that in 36 hours it's going to be destroyed. So you know, whatever, it's 36 hours, they're gonna do it in 30 minutes, no problem. But it is slowly going down, and once it hits that asteroid belt, it's out. It's getting destroyed basically. We also find out that Kate is sick, and she's not sick, she's with child. So Kate is pregnant. They're on a ship. It's bigger than expected. It's gonna hit an asteroid belt. When they get on the ship, there is a gravity field every 30 minutes that puts everything in zero gravity, and then brings it down. So there's so many obstacles right off the bat. And Rain is already saying like, hey, you guys should head back. Like, this is not feeling correct. But again, she gets overruled. Tyler's like, we're almost there. We're basically gonna get there already. And so they find pods, but the pods only have 3 years worth of travel. They need 9 to get to Ivala. It's not enough. So they're searching the outpost. They go into the cryo chamber because they can use that cryo fuel or freeze as a resource to extend that trip and get to 9 years. So they're in there, they're trying to get it out, they're trying to like get the cryo fuel out, and as they're doing that, an alarm goes off. And it starts to warm up. It starts to get like hot in that room because they took out the cryo stuff, and now it's starting to warm up. And these little things right here, they start to twitch and move. The temperature starts to rise. They were all frozen before, but now they're starting to move. And so Rain and Navarro, they get off the ship, they dock, boom, they're running to try to help them because they're kind of a situation. These aren't loose yet, but as they're going to them, Rain finds a synthetic on the ground. It's like a half destroyed synthetic. She finds him on the ground. There's a little jump scare where he grabs her, and every synthetic has like an SD card basically in their head, which you can just take out and input and put into like other synthetics. And every synthetic has a different directive. It's a directive given to them by the person who got them. And so because this guy was in the outpost, and he's, you know, there's clearly a bunch of like damage and holes in the wall and all this like crazy stuff. So he's been through stuff, he knows. So she takes the chip out of his head, and then she goes over to Tyler and tells him to put it into Andy, because it could give everyone some new information that's already in the chip. Andy can relay that information. At the same time, those little alien things are in the water, and like as you saw in the trailer, there's something in the water. Yeah, that happens. It's very intense. Andy is rebooting, and so it's like that scene where his eyes go in the back of his head. He's rebooting, so he's out of the picture. They have to fend for themselves for a couple of minutes. But once Andy comes back, he like grabs one by the tail, like without even looking, and it's a really cool moment. And so you know that he is going to be someone who's very valuable to this team, even more so than we already thought. And it's just really cool to see. That moment was like, oh shit, yo, he's up to something. Like this guy knows. And so Andy basically gets a new directive, which is to help the company and what's best interest in the company instead of Rain, which originally Rain's dad put into Andy to look out for her. But now Andy has a new objective, and that's to look out for the company by any means necessary. And so this thing attaches onto Navarro's face. You've seen in the trailer and the poster. It attaches on their face. They have an electricity rod, but the thing is wrapped around her neck. And it's just like on the face like this. They don't know what to do, really. They managed to close off from all the other ones, just one there. They notice that when they try to take it off her face, the thing's getting tied around her neck, so it could possibly kill her. The synthetic that's half alive basically tells them, like, don't mess with that thing. If you move it too much, it will just break her neck instantly and kill her. But if you don't remove it, it is going to implant a seed which will grow out of that person's body in a couple minutes and grow into the xenomorph. There's a dead xenomorph in the ceiling. It's hanging by wires. It looks really cool and just terrifying as well. And so they have to make a choice. Do they kill their friend, or do they try another way? It's very, very difficult. It's very easy to look as a viewer to just be like, oh, you know, whatever, it's obviously get the friend. But if you're really in that situation, if you really put yourself in that scenario, it's incredibly difficult. Obviously his girlfriend, or her boyfriend Bjorn, does not want to kill her, obviously, and so he's fighting to save her life by any means necessary. Rain comes up with the idea to freeze the thing's tail so they can rip it off without killing her. So they use some of the cryofuel that they're going to use to go to Ivala, and they freeze the thing's tail. It works. They get it off. It's like this long ass tube. It's disgusting. Comes out. The synthetic is like, there is a 60 to 40% chance that thing has already completed its job. It's against your friend. So there was a 60% chance that the eggs are already, whatever it is already inside, and it's already growing. So the synthetics like kill that person before that thing grows out, because that's going to be an even bigger problem. Bjorn obviously does not want to do this. He goes crazy. He takes electricity, blast Andy. Andy falls over again. Like the beginning, he can't move. He takes Navarro. They run. Andy has a new directive. He's acting more strange. He's not really caring about what happened to Rain. He gets up. He sprints. He's trying to kill Navarro. So much chaos is happening at once. They take Bjorn and Navarro, get in the ship. They take off, but the thing burst out of Navarro in the ship with Kate, who is pregnant, and a little alien comes out. And in the midst of all that chaos, Kate falls on like the steering gear shift of the ship, and they hit the outpost, blasting things, just blasting everything. Hit the outpost, start churning, damage to both ships. The outpost starts to shift more this way, and then the ship just goes back inside like the docking area of the outpost. Crazy scene. And what happened with that is that they increased the time. It was 36 hours before it was going to hit the asteroid belt, but because that ship hit the outpost, it's looking like 40 minutes now. So with all this stuff happening, they have 40 minutes to figure out what to do, how to get out of here. And I just think that's such a cool aspect of the movie, that there is things are happening to make the journey more difficult, but it's things that make sense. It's things that make sense. You know, obviously the boyfriend would try to save her, thus creating some chaos and then making everything else a little bit more difficult. It puts the stakes higher, and then everyone starts to get their own agenda. The synthetic in the lab only cares about the mission that they have. His new directive is now the same as the synthetics. Rain is kind of on her own. Tyler is trying to find Kate, and that xenomorph thing is being born. It's all crazy set of sequences. It's so cool. It hooked me. I was already hooked, but this just like made it so much like better, that everyone's not trying to survive together. Everyone's doing their own thing, and I think that's really cool. It makes it very interesting because you don't know what's really going to happen since they all have different directives. And one example of that is they're crossing like a room that's full of these like face hugger things, these things right here. They have to cross that room to hopefully get to Kate in the other side of the outpost. These things respond to your body temperature and sound. So what they do is they raise the temperature in the room to exactly our body temperature, like 98 degrees. And then they have to walk across like 40 of these like face huggers that are just these terrifying creatures. And the synthetic on the intercom is like, increase in body temperature means you cannot feel any fear, you cannot panic, you cannot have any goosebumps. Goosebumps are cooling your body down, which affects your temperature, and that will have the facehuggers go after you. Good luck. And then the doors open. It's so cool. The scene, that's such a cool scene to me because it's one of my favorites. It's just a good luck. I audibly was like, oh, here we go. I was like, it was such a good scene. And so they're walking across the room. They're doing okay. There is like an astronaut with half his face missing. It's kind of a good jump scare that boom, Rain almost screams, Tyler's got her. Tyler hugs her. You know, it's okay. At the same time, it cuts back to Kate and Bjorn. There is a thing on the side of the wall that is like growing, and it's just embedded in the wall. Bjorn takes the electricity thing he had before and sticks it inside, trying to kill whatever is in there. Decent idea. That thing, the hook tail comes out, gets him, and just goes through the jaw, boom, hooks him up, throws him down. And this is where we find out these things bleed acid. Their blood is acid. So it starts coming down. Bjorn's like, his hand, his everything is just burning and just gooding. Like literally they show the finger going down to the bone and disintegrating. It's crazy. I low-key cheered at this part because Bjorn was such an asshole to Andy for no reason. Like Bjorn was so mean to Andy throughout the whole movie. He pushed him around. He told him that he's not going to paradise with Rain, which originally wasn't the plan, but he was such a mean person to Andy that like I was happy that he kind of died. But the reason he was so mean to Andy was because his mom was a worker, and the company in the mining colonies, rather than save 3 humans, they saved 12 synthetics. And so that happened very recently. So he has a hatred for any synthetic because they chose her over his mom, which is understandable. It's very fucked up. Very fucked up. And so there goes Bjorn. He gets electrocuted. He dies. The xenomorph is like coming out of the wall, and it's huge, as that huge alien head. It has claws. It just looks like it can kill you in a second. And that's looking at Kate, who again is with child, and Kate is freaking the fuck out, which is totally understandable. If I saw that, I would like, oh my god. If you're in that situation, it's crazy. So she calls Tyler. Guess where Tyler is? He's in that room that you can't make any sound in. She calls him screaming her heart out. How do I get to this door? He's like whispering, like, just the key is in the thing, like the key's on the, just look on the floor, just look at the, he's trying not to make a lot of sound, but with his worry for his sister, his emotions are getting all riled up. His body temperature is fluctuating. There is goosebumps on his arm because of the situation he is in. He tells her good luck and he hangs up. But it's too late. All the huggers, they face him. They all face him and Rain. And Andy's like, run. Boom, they take off. They just boom, take off. And it's so cool because it just, I don't know, it makes sense. It sounds like silly to say, but it just making sense like that. Obviously the sister would call her brother in like a life or death situation and he would pick up like this. You know, this is not a regular, like, she's just calling to say, hey, what's up? Which I like that. I like that these are organically rolling one into the other. I think that's very good for the movie. I like that a lot. And so another one of my favorite scenes is this scene right here. This is where Tyler dies. This is basically the alien hooks Tyler. He saves the tail from Rain. He takes the bullet basically. It's Kate is like unconscious because she got earlier, so she's like barely hanging on by a thread. It's a very messy situation. Andy is on the ground again. Somebody knocked him over. He's on the ground. He can't get up, and he could be very useful in this situation, but he's on the ground. It is just Rain, and all of these xenomorphs are coming down. They're just coming down, and they are about to get them. Rain, again, this is why she's my favorite. She's so dope. She, without hesitation, boom, she goes in the elevator right here and they go up. She tells Kate, hey, take this thing that we have. They have like these little pods of like alien blood mixed with human DNA that they found in the lab before. And this is another very interesting aspect of the movie that I liked a lot. The synthetic that is trying so hard to do what's best for the company from earlier, he was part of a team that combined the blood from that alien with human DNA because they're trying to find a way to evolve humans faster. We can't wait for evolution because that takes thousands and thousands of millions of years. So they're trying to make it faster, and so they take the blood of that alien, the blood of the human, they mix it together, and they start testing on the rats. There's a scene where the rat is like pretty much just like almost decapitated. It's dead for sure, and they inject it with this alien blood, and then the rat just like comes back to life. It's totally okay, and it keeps going. And so this is supposed to propel humanity in a way forward that's never seen before, and to propel humanity in a way that they can fight back. Because right now, like we said before, the new diseases are taking us out. The humanity is almost like it's basically falling. Or they're not strong enough, they're weak, they're dying to all these diseases, they're going left and right. So the purpose of that ship and that team, they wanted to advance humanity, and they thought they had the perfect cure. So that is what Kate's holding when she goes up this elevator. And that aspect is just so cool, and that's Andy's new directive as well, is to get those samples to the colony back on Jackson. They want them to go back to Jackson and submit it so that other people can come and pick them up and finish their job. All these things, there's so many things happening at once, which I really like. That added so much more to the story. It added so much more humanity. That's just such a cool part to me. And so in this part right here, they're going up. Rain looks down at Andy one more time and just sees him on the ground. At this point, Andy's been acting up. He hasn't been himself. He kind of let Kay get got in the beginning earlier. Like, he's the reason they didn't open the door, because there was an alien. The xenomorph is right behind Kate. If he opened the door, it would have killed all of them. But it was still messed up what he did. And Rain doesn't even know who he is anymore. So at this point, they're already drifted apart. But she looks at him one more time down the elevator and sees him on the ground. He can't get up. And she's like, you know what? I'm going back down. To the like 30 xenomorphs that are down there. She's like, I'm going back down there. I'm getting Andy. So she tells Kate to go up, go to the ship and do autopilot. And then it'll take her to where she needs to go. Rain goes down. She gets Andy back up. She asks them to please let her take out the chip that is telling him to complete what's best for the company. He denies at first, but then he gives in. She takes it out. Boom, he's back to old Andy. He is back to the Andy she knows. His new directive is to do what's best for them. It's such a heartwarming moment. And then a bunch of xenomorphs, they're starting to come back. They're crawling on the walls. And so they take this elevator right here. Boom, they take it and they're going up. Because also the zero gravity, that moment from earlier from the trailer, the zero gravity comes into play. And there's a really dope moment where she just shoots them all in zero gravity with auto lock aim. And it's so awesome because their backs are against the wall. That happens, they dodge all the acid, and then they get to this elevator right here. So that's also a really good scene. It's so cool. But this scene, this is one of my favorites because they go up the elevator, but one of them grabs Rain as she's going up. So then she uses some of her last bullets to get the xenomorph off her leg, thus starting the zero gravity. The zero gravity is still going. She's rising up. The elevator is already up there. Andy is farther than she is. Like, she's here, he's over here. And they're trying to obviously get up there and go to the elevator. And they're like this close. Andy's trying to grab her hand. And then whoosh, zero gravity comes into play and just... She literally fell. I didn't expect her to fall. She fell. She fell like all those stories. It is crazy. So she's falling basically to her death. And then the gravity is going to reset in like 60 seconds. So this whole sequence, she's falling. For a second, I'm like, oh, she's actually going to die. Like she's actually going to die because she is just going down at a rapid pace. A tail comes out, grabs her, and holds her in midair. Guess who? It's the xenomorph. The xenomorph has her, looks at her, and she starts screaming because obviously, what else can you do? She can't escape it. It is on her. It is just gravity comes back. Andy sends down the elevator. Rain hugs the wall. It crushes all the xenomorphs that were coming up. There was like 40 coming up to kill her as well. Boom, the elevator crushes them all. And you're like, oh, thank God. She starts to climb all the way back up. Another one comes from a little hole in the wall, grabs her again, and this time gets so close to her face that the little head came out, the little head that like dents your head in, that came out and just screeches at her, and she screams for her life. The gun that she had that has like a couple bullets left, the gun is like in the rafters, like it's like stuck somewhere, and so boom, zero gravity comes back again, or gravity comes back again. Andy grabs the gun, falls. She's like, again, she's all the way down here, he's like up here, so he grabs the gun over here. He starts to fall. He like shoots the xenomorph, kicks it down, and they fall on the ground, just and he just starts blasting at that xenomorph. He just boom, destroys its whole head just in the nick of time. It's so good. And then Andy's just like, don't touch her, and he's just, it's such a cool moment. Like, he saved her in the nick of time and in such a cool way, and then he's like, do not touch her, and then he like stutters and says like bitch, which is kind of funny. But that moment, it's so cool. Like I mean, like, another one is at the very end, after they make it out of this, they make it on the ship. Kay has injected herself with that like weird DNA sample with half alien, half human thing that Rain was very cautious. She's like, I don't trust this thing, do not use it. You know, she uses it anyway. And she was already with child, so that thing, it morphed into a half human, half xenomorph. And this happens right when you think the credits are about to roll. This happens. It's crazy. Like, everything's relaxed. Her and Andy have like dabbed up, and they boom, the beef is squashed and everything. Then this thing comes out. Kay is in a pod breasting. That comes out. She gives birth to this alien baby. It dissolves into the ground because of the acid blood, and then it falls into the hangar. Rain immediately, without a second thought, without looking for Andy, by herself, she immediately grabs this biofreeze, like she wants, so she can freeze it, and like they did before, and she goes hunting for it. She's off. She's heading directly to where it is. I would not. I would not do that without hesitation. It's so cool. She just grabs that and goes. She is going. She is just getting this done. It looks terrifying. It eats Kay and just drops the body, and it's this like tall ass, lanky, weird looking thing. It has the strength of an alien, but it looks human-esque, and it's just looking at Rain head on. The fearlessness of her is so crazy to me. It's so crazy. I would just look at it like, holy shit, I'm fucked. But it disappears into somewhere. It goes somewhere. She doesn't know where it is. They have a final like showdown. It's so cool. It is so cool. She ends up just like using the acid from what it was before, and she opens the hangar basically. So the hangar's on the bottom of the ship. So she releases the hangar so it can just go into space, and then she can close it and ride off. And that thing grabs her leg. It is fighting to the very end. She is dangling off a rope in space while that thing is grabbing her and trying to kill her. And she still is going without it. It is crazy. Like, she is still just like obviously fearful, but she gets it done. It's so cool. It cemented her as such a cool character. It cemented her as the GOAT, honestly. Like, the fact that she did, I don't know. It is just, without Andy as well. Andy is like such a useful person right at this moment, and she does it without, like, oh, man, it's just so cool. Some gripes about it, you know, if I had to say any. The first time I saw it, I thought it went on a bit too long. But then I saw it a second time yesterday, because I was just taking some notes and everything. And when I saw it the second time, I thought the first time the whole, like, this thing was a little like, okay, that's a little much or whatever. The fight scene was really cool, but this thing was like, it could have ended on when they escape in the elevator and they just ride off. That would have been a nice ending as well. But then I realized, I was like, after the second viewing, I think that last fight is something that needed to happen to like cement Rain's character. she is now cemented as like the GOAT. Like I think in the original Alien, it was the other lady who did all this badass stuff. Rain had, this is her moment basically, and I think the last fight, that thing haunts my dreams. But I think the last fight is necessary for her. Like throughout the whole movie, she has trials and tribulations with other people, but this is her own fight head on, and it's so cool. It's such a cool sequence. Another one I'd say is the Rain and Andy like beef that they had. The whole idea for the first and second half of the movie is, or first and second act of the movie, excuse me, is that Andy is not going to follow with her, which she didn't tell him, but obviously at the end she tells him, fuck it, you're going with me, I don't care if I get arrested or whatever. Like she's taking him. So I think that was going to happen anyway, you know. So I don't know how much of a huge deal that was. That was like a very tense point for them. But, you know, I can see why it happened. It helped create the divide that they had to go through to make that moment in the elevator later when he comes down and guns the xenomorph and saves her. Makes that moment that much better. It just, I can see why they did that. I just don't. The first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, that's kind of, it didn't really, to me, create that big of a divide. But, you know, something very minor. Here are some cast photos of them on set. Look at these things, are terrifying, dude. Look at this. I don't know. It is, but this is such a cool movie. So good. I did not expect this movie to be. I came in with low expectations. It blew me out the water. I was hooked from start to finish. As soon as I saw there was a human element to the story, and that these characters, they're like, they have to go here. They have to go to this alien-ridden spaceship because they are screwed either way. That's so cool to me. It proposed the story in such a natural and organic way that I appreciate. And I like to judge movies based on how they make me feel. I know, like the Finding Nemo director said that people don't really remember the exact dialogue or moments too much. They mainly remember how the movie made them feel, like the first 10 minutes of Up and like all these other things. Like, how does it make you feel? I think that's a good judgment. And this movie, it made me feel like people damn near cheered when that elevator thing happened and Andy killed that xenomorph and saved Rain over here in the nick of time. People like in the theater were just like, you could hear little claps and everything. It all felt so organic. Like the friend group they're put in a tough situation and they stake it out like a friend group would. And if you really put yourself in the shoes of the people in the movie, it's like, it's a very, very tough situation to be in. And everyone having their own agenda is so cool to me because it creates so much conflict that is organic and it works. Oh shit, that was the last one. But yeah, it is just, it blew me away. I saw it and I was like, this is something special right here. I've never seen any of the other ones. I want to watch the other Aliens now because it's just, I'm hooked. I'm hooked on the Alien series. I'm hooked. I want to see what happens after this. I want to see what happens before this. Like, there's so many if we go back to the timeline. Prometheus I heard about before. I heard like some of these are hit or miss, but I'm really interested in the story. Resurrection. This happens 200 years after Romulus. That's very interesting to me. So all of this is very cool, and I want to look into this. Also, this whole thing was inspired by Alien Isolation. That's what the director said, which is a movie that was a game that was big like years ago. And so I might even play that game as well because damn, was this movie really good. It all just felt organic and everything propelled in a natural way, hooks you from beginning to end. The end might be a little long maybe some might think, but I think it's worth it because this character Rain, it's just like she's a badass. She is the GOAT pretty much. And Andy has such a nice arc. He goes from very timid and like shy and soft-spoken to just this badass who tackles everything in front of him. It's so cool to see. It's just all of it is really cool. And that's pretty much it. My neck. That's pretty much it. Let's see. Anything else? The music, the sound, all of that was really cool. What was that? The sound design, the soundtrack, just chef's kiss to all that. It is something I did not expect, and I'm glad I saw it on a whim, randomly on a Saturday at 1 p.m. Hopefully next time they respect the AMC A-list member. But can't be helped. But yeah, it's such a cool movie.